Hey everybody, welcome to our end of the year Q&A live stream with Nyan Leadership. With me is my faithful assistant, Hannah. She's behind the scenes. You don't normally see her, but she's coming out today to help me with some questions and answers we're going to do. Hannah, say hi to everybody. Tell them a little bit about you.
I'm a senior at GW, and I've been helping Drew out with these live streams and all the social media, and I'm excited to help him answer some of your guys' questions.
Awesome. Yeah, Hannah's badass. She's the reason behind all of the social media stuff that I do. All those live streams, it's all her. So thank you for that. Cool. So Hannah, we got some questions coming in today. Well, not today, but they came in over the last week or so. Let's start going through them. But first, I want to give a special shout out to Scott Raba with Mindsprout. He actually was awesome enough to give me a shout out on his podcast last week. So I'm going to return the favor here. Thanks a lot, Scott. You're awesome. Hope everything's going well for you. If you guys have not had a chance to talk to Scott, please do connect with him. We'll put his information in the description below as well. Also, special thank you to Nahid Oberfeld of Oberfeld Coaching. She has been awesome to work with on the Chat with Coaches live stream that we do every other Thursday. We'll be starting that up again in January, so keep an eye out for that. Those of you who are interested, please come out, check the videos out. They're all on our YouTube channel, and there's some good information out there. You know, we helped folks go through some stuff as they're doing it, and it's just fun. It's fun for us. Hopefully, it's helpful for you guys. And yeah, so I want to start things off with a PSA for the holidays, especially. A lot of folks, you know, there's going to be it's marketing time, right? People are going to be basically using marketing tactics that may not be appropriate, aka fear. Please do not use fear as a marketing tactic. I've seen this way too many times. There's enough fear in the world right now out there without using it as a marketing tactic right now. Don't do it. I mean, it's just not cool. It's not nice. It's not fun. It's not a good way to get clients, frankly. I mean, it's a great way to get clients in the short term, but you're only going to keep them as long as they're afraid. And that's not fair to them or to the people that they care about. There's enough fear in the world as it is. Do not use it as a marketing tactic. If there's legitimate education you want to create for folks or to educate people about what you offer, how you can help them, focus on that. Focus on how you can actually help them and be of service. Don't focus on what they should be afraid of. That's just preying on the wrong intentions, on the wrong emotions, frankly. So that's one thing I just wanted to start by saying that, because I've seen some marketing like that recently, and right now we just don't need any more of that. So Hannah, let's jump into the questions without any further ado. And folks, if you do have questions that are live here, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Hannah's gonna be monitoring the chat and will let us know. Will let me know when there's questions that come in, and we'll post them up here and we'll answer them for you. But Hannah, let's get started. What's the first question we got from the folks?
Yeah, so we got a comment asking what business owners can do to solidify their presence online.
Great question. And especially with the holidays nowadays, there's a lot of stuff you can do right now. And it's a longer answer that I can give you on this short live stream we're doing here. But the short answer is a couple things. One, absolutely focus on social media. There's a lot of opportunity in social media, even if you're not a fan of Facebook or you're not a fan of Twitter or any of the more common ones, or YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, that's totally fine. Everyone has their own niche of social media that they're authentic with. If nothing else, LinkedIn is a great way to leverage social media right now, because the barrier to entry is so low, and the engagement opportunity there is huge. For what you get on Facebook in terms of getting like 50 likes on Facebook, right? Let's say you get 50 likes on your post on Facebook, you'll probably get a moderate level of engagement. If you get 50 likes on LinkedIn, you are a superstar. Okay, superstar in the sense that probably thousands and thousands and thousands of people are seeing your post on LinkedIn. All right. The value of likes on LinkedIn cannot be overstated. So double down if you can on LinkedIn marketing, focus on that presence if you can, and become a resource for your clients. Like really focus on giving value out there, like posting about education-based things. Going back to the fear question earlier, focus on education. Educate your clients on what it is you do, how you can be of service to them, who you can connect them with, who they could be connecting with, right? What is it that working with you might do? What is it that the topic that you cover in your business can do for them, right? What should they know about that, whether they work with you or not? What are important things that they can know about the topics that you serve or the areas that you serve? Become a resource. That's a really great way to do it. And whether you do that by email marketing, whether you do that by Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn marketing, or whether you create a YouTube channel, there's a lot of ways to do that online. But really leverage your presence online and create a footprint for yourself. If you're not online right now and you're trying to do business, you're missing the boat big time, especially with COVID. What's the next question we got, Hannah?
Alrighty. What are some ways to stay engaged with customers over the holidays?
Another good question. I would say, again, going back to the online thing, double down on online marketing. Feel free to reach out to your clients, your mailing lists, let them update them, even if it's just to say happy holidays. Hope you're having a safe and happy holiday season, happy new year, those kind of things. Those are really small touches that people really appreciate. But if you really want to get personal and really want to add that extra personal touch, that extra soft touch to your clients, send them out an actual card, right? An actual physical card. I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily get those anymore. And, I don't know about you, but the mail I get is all junk mail. I've gotten, and it makes you really, it really dissuades you from donating to charities, because once you donate once, you suddenly get like 6 million things from the same charity every day. I feel like charities in general, a side note, but I feel like charities in general, if they had just stop with the paper marketing, they would save so much more money, and that money could be reinvested into their causes. It's a different conversation. But really send a card. Take some time to send even if it's just a printed card, you just end up signing. But really add that extra personal touch to your clients by just sending out a card to them, a physical card that says, "Hey, happy holidays! Thanks for doing business with me," or "I really hope you have a safe and happy holiday with your family. Enjoy the time with them." I think that's really huge. That can go a long way. I know I received a card from my real estate agent one time, and it was an extra touch that I did not expect, and it will make me absolutely do business with them again. That kind of stuff goes a long way. Little touches like that. But feel free to reach out by email marketing, social media, those kind of things. Give them some shout outs. Say, "Hey, it was great working with you. I really appreciated it." Do that kind of thing. I think that's a great way to stay engaged with the customers, especially over the holidays. But don't be too intrusive as well. Don't send like 50 emails a week. That's just too much. I mean, if you're sending more than like one or maybe two a week, that's still a lot, because inboxes, they get so full. And again, it starts to become err on the side of junk mail. If it's relevant stuff, it's different. But if it's just updates twice a week, that's a lot.
Alrighty, let's see what the next one is. What piece of advice does every modern salesperson need to hear?
Good question. Okay, so the most important thing I would say is start with, and this is what everything else I'm going to say stems from, is be a human being. All right. Don't focus on the sale. Focus on creating a connection with the person. What does that mean? That means focus on who they are as a person. Focus on what the need is that you're really trying to accomplish to serve for them. If you're trying to get to somebody and you want to sell them your product or service, do they really need it? If they really need it, then you can make the case very easily by finding out more about who they are and what their needs actually are. And then you can tailor that conversation to their need. You don't necessarily need to just do a blanket sales pitch and then end up maybe hitting the mark, maybe not. But when you can do a personalized sales pitch, when you can say something to somebody like, "Hey, I know that you have a dog who's having dietary issues, for example, and I happen to sell really special dog food." That's a sale that's already made right there, right? But you find out from the person what their situation is, how can you actually be of service to them, and then you customize your approach based on that. That's much more successful than just saying, "Here's all the stuff that we do. Let me just throw the kitchen sink at you and throw a bunch of shit against the wall and see what sticks." The shotgun approach will work sometimes. The hard sales approach will work sometimes. But again, neither one of those is really going to give you the long-term recurring sales that you really want to do, right? You want a customer who's going to be a repeat customer, one, and two, is going to be able to refer other business to you. If you don't get that from your sales approach, if you're not getting that already from your sales approach, you got to rethink your sales approach. There's a lot of great people who do some amazing trainings, like Sandler. There's one awesome dude who's out of Tyson's named Nima Samnani. Shout out to Nima of McLean Business Forum and BNI. If you guys have not talked to him, please reach out to him. He's awesome. And I think he's starting a new, if I recall, he's starting a new class coming up soon. So if you're looking for that kind of training, if you know anyone looking for Sandler training, reach out to Nima. He's fantastic. We'll also tag him down below. But just consider getting sales training, getting it from an actual reputable sales company. But again, going back to the most important thing at the very core of everything, be a human being. Focus on people as people, not as just a client or as a potential client or as a sale. All right, those are numbers. People are much more than numbers. You focus on the people, you will win every single time. All right, next.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. And I think we can all this answer will help us all. So, what is one way for me to overcome and manage my anxiety during COVID, especially as an entrepreneur?
Oh, That's a good question. So, and relevant, obviously, to me, but to a lot of folks who are freelancers and entrepreneurs during this crazy time. This year has been really tough on entrepreneurs. It really, really has, in a lot of different markets. And unless you're working for, unless you're doing technology consulting for Zoom or for Amazon or things like that, then you probably were hit this year pretty hard. So what can you do to manage the anxiety and stress? One, focus on what you can control. All right. And that's easier said than done. I get it. But focus on what you can control about things, right? About your situation. If it comes down to a situation where you're choosing between feeding your family and going and paying for social media, cancel social media for now, right? Do what you can. Double down on what the free options are, right? Rethink your strategy. Figure out how you can pivot. If there are ways you can pivot and really still be of service to your clients, do that. But you got to take the time to actually sit down and do that. Don't just keep banging your head against the wall trying to do the same thing that worked before COVID. It's not going to work. All right. If your business is focused on in-person delivery only, rethink your business. Some businesses are not going to be able to work online, and that's okay. All right. You may have to completely pivot, or may have to kind of like rethink your processes and kind of just push pause on that for now. And worst case, some businesses will have to shut down, unfortunately. And that's the worst case scenario, obviously. But I would say 9 times out of 10, you can probably pivot and find a way to still serve clients online. There's one awesome guy, Chef Mesalati, who actually owns Pallet Dome, another shout out. He is originally a caterer in the DC area, and now he's moved to meal delivery. That was his pivot, and he's still doing really pretty well with even with that. That's a great way to look at things in terms of from in-person events, which are catered events that he's been making really good money over the last 7 or 8 years over. Now he's had to shift to meal delivery or meal creation. People can actually pick up the meals themselves if they're not within the delivery radius. But that's one great example. Look for opportunities to see that. And if you need help with that, have conversations, tap into your network, find out what other people are doing. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's another big one that I think people miss a lot of times, is just asking for help. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, right? Especially guys, I'll be honest. A lot of times we get this macho idea that, oh, guys don't ask for help. We can't ask for help. We're less of a person, less of a man if we ask for help. No, you're not. You're just a person who needs help, and that's okay. Reach out to your network, reach out to your friends, your family, let them know if you need help. If you need just even to bounce ideas off people and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about this. What opportunities do you see on your side? Because you're not going to always see the opportunities to take advantage of when you're in the maze, right? How do you get to that cheese? You got to find out how to get there, right? There's always a way if you're willing to look for it. And so just focus on what you can control whatever. And that's very, very little, honestly, in the world. Mostly it's just yourself. But other than that, try to start brainstorming about ways you can pivot. And for folks who are really struggling with having a hard time, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have conversations with folks. I don't charge for initial conversations ever. So if you need to have a conversation, you want to talk about how to pivot, feel free to reach out. Honestly, I love brainstorming. I love being creative about stuff, finding creative solutions. Let's do it. Let's talk sometime. But tap into your networks. Find out who you can help and how you can be a resource for people and how they can be a resource for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Networking is key.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
This is a long one. Okay. After being promoted into a leadership role, I'm concerned about how to best manage the workplace relationships I've already built. What is the best way to approach these relationships?
Oh, good question. Okay. So I'm not sure if this was meant in the COVID context or in general, but I'll tell you both answers. So, and that they're pretty closely related, honestly. But once you build a relationship with someone at a certain level, right? A lot of times it'll be peers or subordinates, sometimes people above you. It's tough to make that shift to leadership role and then maintain that relationship in the same way, right? Because you're friends with that person, you've previously been a peer of them, and now you're going to be maybe managing that person, and that could get in the way of your friendship. The first thing I would say is have a frank conversation with that person. It comes down to communication 99.9% of the time. Communication is absolutely key, right? And being authentic, be who you are. Don't be afraid to have a tough conversation with that person and say, listen, hey, look, I know we're friends, but our friendship has to have boundaries, and our leadership and subordinate role has to have boundaries. I'm going to be your boss now. We got to figure out how to make this work, because there are going to be times where I'm going to have to hold you accountable at work, and we got to still be able to be friends after work, right? That's a tough conversation to have, but it's important to have that conversation if you're making that transition to a leadership role, because otherwise that person is going to either, whether they mean to or not, they're going to take advantage of the fact that you guys are friends. And on the flip side of things, you're going to be accused of giving that person special treatment, even if you're not. Perception is 100% of reality for people, right? So the perception around the entire office is going to be, oh, you know what? Drew is friends with Hannah, and now Drew and Hannah, because they were peers before, now he's supervising her. He's giving her special treatment because they're best friends. You don't want that kind of mentality, because then that's going to affect your performance and your ability to get your job done. You don't want that to ever happen or ever be a situation, because that's going to look bad on your record in general. It could affect the way you get promoted in the future. It could also affect the way your friend gets promoted in the future. So have that conversation up front and be frank. And that's going to honestly pave the way for a lot of things to happen. There may still be situations that come up that are going to be misunderstandings or maybe a little bit difficult conversations, but at least you have that boundary set in the very beginning up front that, hey, listen, I'm going to be transitioning to a new role, to a new relationship. It's going to affect our relationship in certain ways. And I want to make sure that that's clear with you up front. And maybe the solution is that person ends up going to a different team instead of staying on your team. That's a possible solution to that problem. But at least you had the conversation up front so that's clear and upfront and everyone is on the same page. On top of that, your supervisors, your peers, new peers and old peers, and your friend are going to respect you a lot more because you're upfront and honest with them about it, and you're setting boundaries where appropriate. So that's the one thing I would say. With COVID, the only thing I would add to that is maintaining relationships in general is tougher in a remote environment, right? You have to be a lot more intentional about scheduling and having those conversations that you would otherwise have walking around the office outside of the office. So schedule more often check-ins with people just to check in and just pick up the phone and call them. You know, I mean, Zoom calls are great-ish if you're not on 4 million of them a day. They get really annoying after a while, honestly. So if you're on a lot of Zoom calls, pick up the phone and call somebody. Take a walk, right? You can schedule walking time. I had one client, he started scheduling walking time for himself and ended up doing the same, having his one of his subordinates who he kept in touch with over time. They schedule walking time at the same time every week. So they take 15 minutes. They both take a walk around the block or around wherever they are and talk on the phone and just catch up, not about work, just about life in general, about how things are going, because they were friends otherwise. And that was a great way to keep that going. They both are aware of what's going on. They both maintain the connection that they would have otherwise. And they're not ruining the friendship that they had other than outside of work. Whereas otherwise, you're just talking to people only about work all the time on Zoom. That can easily kill a relationship. So try to set up check-in times you can make for people in your life that you care about, whether they're at work or otherwise. But just be intentional about that. That's the most important thing for maintaining relationships in COVID, in the post-COVID and current COVID world, because otherwise they're just going to fade away over time, and it's going to be just based on what you interact with that person in what context, and that typically is just going to be mostly work.
That looks like all the questions we had submitted beforehand.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions that came up in the meantime as I was talking, or any comments, anything like that? I haven't seen anything yet, but I know there are folks watching. So if you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll address them as they come up. But I will say, honestly, on another perspective, another side of things, I really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to support this channel over the course of this year. We've made some modifications. We've grown. We've had some huge wins over the last, I'd say 9-10 months or so since COVID started. When we started this channel, we've got 88 subscribers, which is fantastic. And it grew from 0. And I really, really appreciate everybody here for that. I really appreciate all the folks who jumped in and really supported this channel, supported me and the work we're doing. And I'm hoping that this channel grows and continues to grow in the next year. I plan for it to grow. That's my goal, and to be of more service for you guys. So if you have questions, if you have topics that we want to cover in the next couple of live streams we do, please feel free to reach out. Let me know. We'll address them the same way. We'll start doing these Q&As probably once a month or so. Make sure folks are getting the value out of it that we want them to, and make sure that we're being a resource for you. At the end of the day, it's not just about doing business. It's about being a resource and being that go-to person that you can ask questions to and get things done with. So if nothing else is in the chat, then I'll go ahead and call this a day. It's been about 20 minutes. Wow, that's quick. Hannah, nothing else on the question side of things, right?
Mm-mm.
Cool. Okay. Well, guys, thank you guys all so much, everyone, for watching. I really appreciate it. Hannah, thank you again for all the work you do, because you're fantastic. And a big shout out to Sam from before, my previous assistant. She was awesome too. She actually helped Hannah transition to this role, and she set up a lot of things as well. So I've had a lot of support, and my entire network. I got to thank all of you guys for all the amazing support you guys have given me in multiple ways. You guys know who you are. You know, throwing up Sage Harper, Brian Cohen, Tom Goldstein. You guys have been fantastic. I really appreciate all you guys. Cassidy Burns, Liz Emery, my entire BNet chapter for the most part. I appreciate it a lot. Eric Hanna out west, thanks a lot, man. And you know, I hope to continue to grow this channel in the future, and to grow my relationships and network. So, anyone who needs help, please feel free to reach out. If not to me, to someone in your network. And yeah, have a great, happy, safe holiday. And a happy new year. Let's put 2020 in the rearview mirror and look forward to 2021 and make some awesome goals. Hannah, what are you looking at for 2021? What are your intentions?
I'm excited to graduate, start my adult life, and just kind of see where it goes. I think it truly can only go up from here. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, cool. We'll make that happen, and we'll make sure it's a good year. So everybody take care, stay safe, and happy holidays. Happy New Year.